Spider Man channel's Kyle here, and welcome to my review of Captain America Civil War. Captain America Civil War is directed by Joan Anthony Russo and stars Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Chadwick Boseman, and Tom Holland, among many, many others. Obviously, this movie is packed with characters and is the 13th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and also the third Captain America solo outing. First off, I'm going to get to the good before I go into the bad. This movie, honestly, was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, among many others. Obviously, Batman vs Superman was also one of my most anticipated movies, and Suicide Squad and Star Wars Rogue One, and many, many others. But this was this was at the top. First off, on the good, acting was absolutely superb. Honestly, overall, I think the standouts probably would have to be Robert Downey Jr. But personally, I think he sort of stands out a lot in all of his movies, solo movies, and also Avengers outings. I think he just does fantastic here. I think this is probably the most serious this character has ever been. But again, he still knows when to sort of quip and sort of to put out a one liner. But I guess this is the most serious his character's ever been. I think he plays it absolutely superb. I mean, absolutely superbly. Sorry. I think this is actually the best his character has been so far in the cinematic universe. Also, Chadwick Boseman is fantastic, and I mean fantastic as Black Panther. I cannot wait till his movie. I think it's in 2018. I think it was originally meant to be in late 2017, but I think it's been pushed back because of the solo Spider-Man movie. On the topic of Spider-Man, Tom Holland does an absolutely superb job. I think when it comes to Spider-Man, sort of the Spider-Man movies and TV shows, I think they usually struggle when it comes to trying to find the right balance of when the character needs to be serious and when he needs to be sort of more jokey and more sort of like making quips at the villains and that sort of thing. I think the movies and TV shows have all sort of not really struggled with it. They usually do one better than the other more. I think that's sort of the thing. Like similar with Batman, I just say example. Usually filmmakers, they get like they either get the Bruce Wayne better than the Batman, or sometimes get the Batman better than the Bruce Wayne. It's sort of similar to that, but just more in his actions. I think this is probably the best blend of it we've ever got so far, and I think he just does a fantastic job. Again, I'm extremely excited for his solo movie. Robert Downey Jr. is meant to be in it as well, so that should be great. Also, Scarlett Johansson does fantastically in this movie. Honestly, it stands out. I really want to have either a Black Widow solo movie or a Black Widow TV series on like Netflix or some sort of other platform. But I really want sort of just a solo Black Widow Widow thing, because I think she's actually usually the standout of these movies. I think she was one of the best parts of Winter Soldier. I loved Winter Soldier, Captain America the Winter Soldier, but I think she was one of the best elements of it. I think she just does a great job as the character overall. Everybody really does stand out. I think what this movie does well is it sort of, there's loads of characters in the movie, and I mean loads of characters, and it knows how to balance them surprisingly well. Because you've got like sort of obviously Captain America and Iron Man and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow will obviously get probably the most spotlight, and certain other characters as well will get the most spotlight, and then certain other characters will get sort of minimum spotlight, because they're not as important or as integral to the story. But I think everyone does get their shot to shine. I think characters that previously haven't really gotten a lot of screen time, or not necessarily not gotten a lot of screen time, but more haven't got their time to shine, I think do in this movie. Ant-Man is fantastic. He's not in a huge amount of it, but I think he does really shine in the scenes that he's in. Also, Scarlet Witch is absolutely fantastic in this movie. They've got a really great arc for a character. I think it really works well here. Also, Vision as well. There's sort of the start of a romance between Vision and Scarlet Witch, like in the comics, and I'm excited for that and see that sort of play, because there's hints of it in this, and I think both of them really do get to shine. Also, Hawkeye. And that's one of my problems. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's a bit of a spoiler. I think it's sort of contrived the way his characters introduce his story, but that's not relevant at the moment. No, but I think everyone does get the time to shine. I think they do both. Not necessarily they don't all get the exact same amount of screen time, but I do think they all get to shine and do all get their storylines. I do think they really get to shine, especially Falcon as well. Actually, I really enjoyed Falcon in this movie. The action is honestly some of the best action you'll ever see in a comic book movie. Obviously, it's not. Obviously, there's other movies as well that have great action, comic book wise, like Guardians of the Galaxy and The Dark Knight there too. examples I would think of. But honestly, the direction for the action in this movie is absolutely fantastic. The choreography is so superb. I just my mouth I was like smiling so much during the action scenes in this movie, especially the airport scene. It's about 15 20 minutes, but it's like one of the best scenes in the movie. Um, Problems, I think at certain times the stories it gets a bit slow and a bit sort of sidetracked. Also, the villain I don't think is antagonizing enough, especially for the likes of Captain America and Black Panther and Black Widow and Iron Man and all these different characters, especially them being such big heavyweights. I don't think the character's antagonizing enough. Although I do think he was well developed, I just don't think he's antagonizing enough. Also, at times the action can